Justice for Tyre Sampson. Tear this monstrosity of a death trap down. We want it out of our community. Y'all notice all the memorabilia is gone. Icon Park down. They had some that people come and leave for Tyre Sampson, and they took it down because they don't want the community to know that a 14-year-old boy lost his life because of their negligence, gross negligence. We have people that know that justice goes for when you do wrong, stand up. Put some of that money to work and come out here and dismantle this death trap. We'll also be doing a balloon release on August 17th. Unfortunately, Tyre Sampson will not turn 15 because of gross negligence by Slingshot Group. Freefall, free to fall and not be held accountable.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tina. Thank you. Is everybody ready? First of all, I want to say thank you to Tina Wilson and the Juneteenth committee. It is not lost on any of us that it was Juneteenth yesterday. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, and along with Attorney Bob Hilliard, Attorney Gerald Christmas, and your own Attorney Natalie Jackson, we have the honor of representing the father of Tyre Sampson, Mr. Orlando Sampson. Also present with us is your iconic state representative, Geraldine Thompson, who has been at the forefront of making sure that meaningful legislation is passed so this doesn't happen again, and it properly preserves the legacy of a 14-year-old child who should not be dead.
Amen.
I just want to briefly say a word before State Representative Thompson gives you an update into the Tyre Sampson bill.
Yes.
And then you will hear from Orlando Sampson, who came here, and he will tell you far better than I can on Father's Day and how he always gets the call from his son on Father's Day. And not only was it Father's Day, not only was it Juneteenth, but also it was his birthday. Yarnell's birthday is on June 19th, and he came here to remember his son, the last place he was living. And he would tell you how disappointed he was and why he wanted to have this press conference. So before State Representative Thompson comes, I will just give a brief response from Attorney Hilliard and I about the autopsy report that was finally released and confirmed everything that we suspected. Tyre was too big to have been on the ride. That is no doubt about that. The weight limit was 286 pounds, but they did not follow their own restrictions. Tyre at the time, as I understand from his father, was around 350 pounds, and he would tell you how they saw how swole up he was at the funeral because of the external injuries, the multiple injuries he suffered. It was concluded on the official autopsy report that Tyre died this terrible death from blunt force trauma to his head, blunt force trauma to his torso, blunt force trauma to his extremities, and his internal organs, multiple internal organs, were lacerated. And so we're here simply to say these companies cannot be allowed to get away with this, putting profit over safety. To Slingshot Group, to Icon Park executives, you all cannot simply sweep this under the rug as if Tyre Sampson's death doesn't matter. Right. Because Tyre Sampson matters.
Yeah.
His life matters.
Yeah.
His legacy matters.
Yeah.
And we will define the legacy of Tyre Sampson, his mother, his father, his family.
Yes.
That's why his father is here today, to make sure that his legacy is not swept under the rug. Without further ado, before you hear from Yarnell Sampson, you're going to hear from State Representative Geraldine Thompson, who since day one said, we will make sure children know that I'm going to fight to protect them. Geraldine Thompson.
Good morning. Good morning. We're still working on the bill that will be filed the very first day of the next legislative session. We already require that the operators of these kind of rides send to the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services the manufacturer's guidelines. Then the department inspects to make sure that everything is in compliance with the guidelines. In this particular instance, the Slingshot Group, after the inspection and after a permit was issued, they adjusted the seats on the ride. So this bill that will be introduced will take into account the safety records of any company that wants to operate a ride of this nature. Now, Slingshot wants to open a second ride. They have already gotten a lease from Icon Park. This is the second lease that they have gotten from Icon Park. And they want to open a second ride as if Tyre Sampson's life was inconsequential. Right. There should be no permit.
No
permit and no second ride. Yes. Given that we are still investigating this first death. So the bill will say that before a permit is issued, we will take into account the safety record of the operator who has had previous experience.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, behind you, there used to be a memorial that people in the community made and put together. And this particular operator has removed everything, all of the evidence that this is the location where a 14-year-old boy died. They don't want people to know that. Just as they are acting as if they are tone deaf by saying they're going to open a second ride. There will be no second ride for the slingshot group.
Yes.
And they should not, somehow we need to break that lease that they have for the second ride.
Amen.
So the bill is being put together, and you can be assured that it will take into consideration prior experience, prior safety records, what has it looked like in terms of longitudinal history for companies that want to operate these kind of rides, because the life of the people who get on these rides, that's what's at stake here. Their very lives are at stake. So I have pledged to Yarnell Sampson, to this community. I represent this community, all of the amusement parks, I drive, etc. And we want people to be able to come to Orlando and enjoy the attractions, knowing that there are safeguards.
Yes, ma'am.
And that there is some scrutiny, that monitoring is taking place with regard to operating these rides. Thank you very much, and please welcome Yarnell Sampson.
Wow. How everybody doing today? Let me first introduce myself. My name is Yarnell Sampson. I am Tyre Sampson's father. I am the voice of Tyre Sampson. That's why I'm here now. Yesterday was my birthday, which is Juneteenth Day and Father's Day. Like Mr. Crump said, I normally get a phone call every year saying Happy Father's Day, or either come and visit me up close and personal. We hang out, house, go get something to eat, or just laugh around, you know, sit at the table, laugh around a little bit. But this is the first year and the first time that me, as a father, I'm not having my son with me on Father's Day on my birthday. So it's something new and different. So I came down here to show my respects, because this year is the first time I didn't have a birthday party set up for myself. So this is my celebration to be with my son. To respect his wishes, to keep this justice thing going and get this thing going towards the right direction for its change. Change is obvious need to be done, because we here having a press conference still, talking about the same issues. But what the classist part about this thing is, there's no memorial stating that he passed away here.
Right.
The goal is to get 25,000 signed petitions to get this ride taken down permanently. And with my wishes, I would like to have a permanent memorial out here for my son, stating that he had passed away and his legacy will live on, and give the proper respect to the dead that need it.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't ask to die on that ride. He didn't sign up for that. Actually, they signed him up for it because they let him die. I'm not an expert and tell you why would somebody adjust some screws or let a guy was almost 87 pounds over the weight capacity limit to get on that ride. It sounded like it was a suicide trap. And that's why I got it on the wall, death trap. Because if you get on that ride again, somebody else gonna die. It might not be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be a year from now. But I guarantee if you open that ride again, somebody else gonna die. Because the ride is too safe and it should not be operational at all. So that's the goal, is get it discontinued for good. Okay. Also, this thing has been very emotional for me these last 2.5, 3 months. Physically, it's been taking a toll on me. Days don't want to get out the bed, days don't want to eat. That thing continue going on. If you look at me now, my body have transformed to something different. I lost 15 pounds of weight. For as emotional strain and stress from this situation. The reason we're having this press conference is to bring the awareness on the light. The light is justice for Tyre.
Justice for Tyre.
He was 14 years old, a scholar, an honor roll student, and he deserved to be respected more than what they're giving him. I just want to know, these CEOs, they got kids as well, would they want their kids to be treated like this? That's all I want to know. And also, as men, I think we deserve, me and my son mother, a public apology, stating that we made mistakes, we're sorry, we could change some things, and maybe we can work with you going forward. I have got none of them things haven't transpired or even happened yet. So I'm looking forward to that public apology. So to me personally, I feel like they're trying to sweep it under the rug to make it seem like this thing is business as usual, profit over safety. Right. Let's get some money, and let's get another kid to get on this ride again for he can die next time. Right. Because that's pretty much what's going to happen. Unless we could change this and get behind the senator and sign these signed petitions and get these 25 to 30,000 letters signed, for we can make this a law. For this thing could be regulated, safety checked it, and also you need to check, drug test some of these operators.
Yeah.
These little young teenage operators been going to 30-day training. How is they responsible for somebody's life? It's just really crazy to me. But you know, I'm gonna stick back to the script. The script is, it's business as usual. They had a festival this weekend. They had a party right there. They're having fun like nobody even passed away on this ride. They drinking beers, they having a ball, they high-fiving, and to me, it's classless. You know, and nobody, I stayed out here from Friday all the way to now to asking people, did they know Tyre Sampson died? Out of 100 people, there's only 5 people only actually knew he died off this ride. You know, they thought the ride was discontinued through maintenance. Wow. They thought they was actually fixing the ride. And actually I heard a couple kids say, oh, I can't wait to get on this ride. That's why we need a permanent memorial to justify his death. And the reason why we justify his death, because he don't deserve that. He didn't ask for that. He didn't sign up for that. He was coming here for vacation, to have fun. I'm quite sure it's 1,000 kids now here right now on vacation. They want to have fun. They don't want to die to have fun.
Right. Amen.
That's not the reason why we're here. The reason why we're here is to make sure nobody else go through the same thing down the road. This same situation happened in California in 1999. The same drop free fall ride, a 12-year-old young man lost his life. We could have used them same measurements in California. In Florida, we won't have this situation now. A $22 seatbelt would have saved my son's life.
Wow. Okay. Now we'll try to take some of your questions. We understand that it's very hot, and we thank you all for being here.
I want to ask a little.
Right now it's been filed, and we're going through the motions. I know that there are other defendants that are being contemplated, and so we're trying to push forward as expediently as possible, because justice delayed, certainly in this situation, would be justice denied.
Is there a time frame you're hoping for?
Well, we're hoping that it could be specially set, because it is a very important case of great public importance, especially for Orlando, which is, I think, the world's capital for amusement attractions.
I know people were asking for more, markers at rides like this, more safety guidance. Is that something that will be included in the bill as well?
Yes, we want signage so that a potential rider will know for him or herself what the weight limit is, what the height limit is, and we are not convinced that that happened with the slingshot ride with Freefall. So most times when you go to an amusement park, you'll see the signs as you come up to the ride. And so not only did they skirt the guidelines with regard to the weight limit, the height limit, the signage was not there as well.
Has there been any updates in the investigation of who approved the change in enlistment or who made the actual change?
I know the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services is continuing the investigation, and your question gets right to the heart of it. Who authorized the change? I don't believe it was the 17, 18-year-old person who allowed Tyre on the ride. I think it was someone further up in terms of the chain of command, if you will. But that the investigation is still ongoing, and so we don't have conclusive information to be able to give you an answer to your question.
And nor should the manufacturer made it possible to adjust the seat. That is a foreseeable risk that if you adjust that seat, it can cause, dire consequences, fatal consequences. So why even have that? And those are the issues that are being raised in the litigation.
Mr. Sampson, this is a difficult question to ask, but when I read the autopsy report, I thought of you and Miss Dodd and what that was like for you. If you're comfortable, could you tell us if you read it and what that was like for you?
Personally, it felt like the first day I found out when I seen the video viral, and I found out. I feel like it's a cover-up sham going on. I feel like personally that they don't want the world to know the truth because I hate to say this, I don't want to use the race thing, but I believe that because my son is a black young man, that he getting treated like this, and I believe if it was a European child, it would have been something different. It wouldn't have been no taking down, no memorial, wouldn't have been no sweeping under the rug. They would have been more cooperative. I think they would have been more respectful as well. You can look for yourself. You see anything stating that a young man died there, 14 years old? Because we from St. Louis, Illinois, they thought it was going to get swept under the rug. I'm a fighter. I've been fighting all my life. And I refuse to let this thing go under the rug because my son didn't deserve this. Amen. He was a 4.0 student. Left tackle, the number 5 left tackle in the country for his age group. He played on the number 1 football team and the youth football team in the country. He was going to the east side. They won more championships in 20 years than any other school in that area. So he was going to the prime school. Everything was lining up for him to be great. Plus he had talent. He could rap. He was a magician. He had a lot of other things besides football going for him. So why his life don't matter? It does matter because at the end of the day, as long as I'm here, I'm going to speak up for him. He deserved that. And he deserved to have a permanent memorial, a statue out here, not building another ride that costs maybe $30 to $40 million to build another ride. Why not put that same money into resources to help the youth?
Mr. Sampson, what does justice for Tyre, what does that mean to you? Is it the right being taken down as an apology? Is it something else?
All of the above.
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just going to say all above what you're saying is correct, but the legacy is change for the everyday person. Change the industry to the fact that like this happened in 1999 should happen in 2022. We're having this conversation almost 15 years later. We're having the same situation going on. So why is the situation going on? Because we're taking shortcuts. And we choosing profit over safety. And it should not be the point. The point is should be safety over profit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, should no
Safety
kid
over
die
profit.
trying to have fun on an amusement park ride? Shouldn't happen. And we got all the resources to make the changes. Why not make the changes? Why we got the resources? And the attention is awareness right now. This the awareness right here to let everybody know in the public that we are here trying to do our best. Should Miss Tina be out here by herself with a microphone talking about change?
Amen.
Should one person do that?
Yeah.
It's all of us. It's a community effort.
Amen.
That's why Juneteenth Project Coalition is here, because we don't trust Orange County lawmakers and politicians to come out and advocate for this community. This is District 6. And as parents and grandparents, we don't want this monstrosity of a death trap standing here, knowing that a 14-year-old child came to our community. His parents sent him here, and he came back in a makeshift casket. Is that fair? Do we have to look at this?
Amen.
There should be a memorial here in his name. That's his legacy. So other little 14-year-old black boys can make good grades in school, that can aspire to be great.
Amen.
This should not be our stigma. It takes more than a village. It takes villages. We're at that time. That's why a civil rights organization and a civil rights attorneys had to advocate for this black family. Because we know if he was from Windermere, this ride would be down in a heartbeat. Right. But because he's a little black boy from St. Louis, they're dragging their feet. Slingshot is still here. They still have a leasing contract because Icon Park does not want to lose money if they break the lease.
He wants.
Do you see this as a civil rights case, as a personal injury case, or both?
Well, I think anytime you have marginalized people of color, especially African Americans, there seems to be an effort to devalue the life of our children.
Amen.
And so that's why I'm so proud that Senator Thompson, Attorney Natalie Jackson, Gerald Christmas, Bob Hilliard, we're saying no. You don't get to devalue Tyre Sampson's life just because he is an African American, just because he's not a resident of Orange County. No, he was a young human being and his life mattered. We need to give him all the humanity that we would give any 14-year-old child. Because just like you love your children, well, Yarnell Sampson, Nakia Dodd, they love their child too.
Amen. Right. Amen. Can you clarify, because an attorney for Orlando Slingshot said the memorial was taken down here in consultation with the family, and that the items removed were sent to the family's representatives. Is that accurate?
With the understanding that there would be a permanent memorial erected. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm getting emotional because he got mad when they were supposed to erect a permanent memorial, and he came out on Father's Day, his birthday, to see that memorial, and there was no evidence that his son ever died here. They were having a party and a celebration, and that was very hurtful to Yarnell.
So they told you they were going to create a permanent memorial here?
That was the understanding, that there would be a permanent memorial.
In exchange for them moving the items and sending
Correct.
them. And have you received those items?
No, ma'am. To answer your question, they told us they was going to clean it up and make it look better, to allow us to add some more fresh items up there.
And then they hid it behind a fence.
Yeah.
Right. So
And they took that down.
So when I found out, I initially found out Miss Tina had reached out to me and let me know, Senator Sampson, do you know it's not a memorial out here? So that's what got my attention to come up here to try to make a change. I did not know that they was sweeping this thing under the rug like they are. So when I got up here, flew up here personally this weekend, I had seen it was a big old festival going on. People sitting right here drinking beers right here, just chilling. They got camp things going on over there. People having a ball, high-fiving, it's just like it's business as usual. And then now the 14-year-old young man had passed away, which was my son, Tyre Sampson. So to answer your question, I think the ride need to come down, because that's a permanent reminder every time I look up at that ride that my son actually had fell down, 400-some feet, crashing to the earth to his death. And when I seen my son at the funeral, my son was not my son. He was a cardboard box. No organs, no nothing. His face was so swollen it was almost unrecognizable. So you telling me, what would you do in this situation? Would you stand around and let this thing get swept under the rug, or you gonna stand up for your child? I'm still a father, I'm still a parent. I still got Father's Day. So why let this thing just get swept under the rug because of corporate people want to get more money? I mean, something got to change. It's all about compassion for life. Human, end of the day is all lives matter, especially blacks' life. If it was a European child, like I said, we won't have this conversation, it'd be teddy bears all the way to the street. It'd be writing all on the ground, it'd be stuff, the memorial would be so high they have to clean it up themselves and put more stuff down. But since it's a black child, it took everything away. And me and my son's mother don't deserve that. We didn't sign up for that. Our son had came here for vacation to have fun because he was an honor roll student and he was a good athlete. That's why he came here. It's called reward.
But the fact that the slingshot operators are contemplating opening a second ride shows you the insensitivity. They are absolutely tone deaf. To say that they're going to open a second ride so that they can make money, even as we are still investigating what happened with this ride. Icon Park, that gave them a lease, has offered to let them out of the lease, but they are insisting that they move forward and that they be allowed to open a second ride. And that is totally inappropriate.
Unacceptable. Thank you all. We'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. There's some people who wanted to ride that night came out to be with Mr. Sampson.
Keep on fighting.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate everybody coming out. I hope everybody learned something from this lesson. Let's get these laws passed, help spread the message, get these signed signatures, and for this situation won't happen. Because I'm supposed to be meeting up with the parents down the road from the kid happened in California. Hopefully we're gonna set that up, and we're gonna get together and see what we can do together to make regulations and changes for the betterment.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Keep on fighting.
Keep it short answer. Sure.
How yesterday was Father's Day
Yes, ma'am, and my birthday.
and your birthday. Can you just speak to us about how that felt in your heart?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Every day's been an emotional roller coaster. You don't really know how to deal with something like this because it's unnatural. You never prepared to bury your child. You always prepare your child to bury you. And so it's nothing I can really describe the feeling. I just say it's hurt, pain, it's days, suffering, sadness, and a lot of it's borderline depression, if you want to be honest. But I can't give up because this fight is bigger than me. It's my son's legacy on line, and he deserved to be remembered.
Sir, on Father's Day.
Yeah.
Father's Day without him.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought I was gonna feel better because I was thinking I was gonna come up here and see all these memorial teddy bears and stuff like that, and that was gonna be my comfort zone. But when I got up here, I just thought everybody just abandoned him and nobody gave a care about it no more, and there's no more love. I felt empty. And then when I came here, I walked here, and I seen people just partying, just drinking. It made me throw up. It was really like, and then as a parent, I got defensive. And I asked every person out there was sitting around here, did you know a young man passed away off this ride? You know, average person told me, nope, I did not know. And that to me, that's classless. I just want to know CEO of Icon or either Slingshot, these kind of groups, how would they feel if their child was in that situation? You know, that's all I want to know. I mean, just be a man about the situation. They say it's okay, I made a mistake, it should have never happened. Give us a public apology, not behind somebody written statements and stuff like that don't really mean nothing if you don't show a person in person that. I was taught you shake a man's hands with the right hand, you look a man in the eye.
Okay.
That's how I was taught.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just for clarification, the right